The story unfolds around Archie, a stubborn and emotionally fraying man who grapples with the aftermath of an incident involving pills, exhaustion, and pride. Recovering in a hospital bed, he converses in confusion about medicine addiction and responsibility, arguing repeatedly that he is no drug user, just someone who made a mistake. Edith, kind and maternal, tries to comfort him, explaining that the doctor allows him to leave soon. Archie hates inspirational songs and cliches about sunlight and storms. He resents being told to lift his spirits, insisting people cannot simply be happy because lyrics say so. But under his hardened bitterness is insecurity about failure, business pressure, and aging. His wife promises him that next time he feels green and depressed, he should speak to her instead of pills. As he drifts into guilt, he blurts that maybe she should have married someone else. But Edith reminds him she loves him. The dynamic of their marriage emerges gentle patience against volcanic stubbornness. Scenes flicker between humor and worry, building his contradictory foundation. At home, his family discusses how he refuses to get out of bed now that he's back. Archie feels ashamed and defeated. They try to cheer him with stories, even Hungarian goulash, but he sulks. When his bar suffers catastrophic losses during his absence, customers taking furniture, the piano, even the pinball machine, his despair worsens. Manuel helplessly explains the telephone was cut. Archie blames himself, calling himself born a failure. Edith tries to pull him out of bed, arguing a partner might fix everything, especially Harry, a business friend once close to Archie. Archie snaps at the idea, suspicious that closeness breeds betrayal. The family's pleading grows more frantic as he threatens to remain in bed 20 years like a depressed Rip Van Winkle. Harry eventually arrives, attempting to reconcile. At first, Archie responds with cold silence. Edith begs him to be nice, but Archie refuses, wounded pride choking any apology. Harry leaves angrily, feeling unappreciated. When Edith scolds Archie, arguing the bar needs Harry's customers and stability, Archie resists. Yet eventually, guilt pushes him to speak again. When they negotiate partnership percentages, Archie's pride twists numbers until Harry firmly asserts equal terms. Finally, under Edith's pressure, he relents, agreeing to open the bar with Harry as partners. The negotiation scene is comedic petty, yet painfully accurate to wounded ego. Later, the story transitions to a citywide blackout. The family scrambles through dark rooms lit by refrigerator candles and leftover desserts. Archie enters annoyed that his bed is occupied and the house is filled with nervous chatter. They argue about cheesecake that may spoil man's instinct toward hoarding, and whether the blackout is caused by them a crowd scapegoat Archie uses vaguely. Mike challenges this word, arguing poverty and desperation drive such behaviors. Archie claims the American dream is blocked by radicals' laziness and government interference. His conservative worldview clashes with Mike's idealism on systemic inequity. Their heated exchange exemplifies how economics, race, and politics simmer beneath ordinary domestic chaos. When Archie brags about making $100 in a taxi by frightening blackout passengers, Mike calls it illegal price gouging. Archie counters that everyone hustles and that minorities loot furniture. Mike insists economic forces create desperation, but Archie reduces complexity into stereotypes. The argument escalates toward the myth of cheap labor and a desire for social return to order. The tension is humorous, biting, and uncomfortable. Eventually, the lights return. Neighbors exit awkwardly. The blackout serves as metaphor. When normality goes dark, fear reveals prejudices. Soon after, Archie encounters Gordy Lloyd and members of a mysterious Crusaders Commission claiming they support law and order where the police fail. They flatter Archie's suspicion of social change, praising his attitudes on crime and protest. They invite him to a meeting under the guise of protecting small businessmen. Archie, longing for validation, is tempted. Their membership interview confirms subtle bigotry questions about white supremacy, religion, patriotism. Archie blindly plays along, not recognizing danger. After a ritualistic process, they accept him. Only later does he realize they are a local chapter of the Klan. Shock ripples through his family. Mike, referencing his published political letter, becomes target of cross-burning threats. The Crusaders plan to light 5 crosses 1 at Mike's house. The intimidation is violent symbolism. Edith panics. Gloria cries. For the first time, Archie sees consequences of ideology. He confronts the Crusaders, pleading that his grandson should not grow up witnessing hatred. He tries appealing to empathy, telling them he once received a blood transfusion, possibly from black donors. When they cringe, Archie flips the shame, weaponizing their fear. He threatens to gather men with black blood and counter-destroy them. His improvised bluff scares them off. When they leave, Archie excuses himself to think a rare admission of doubt. That moment, his transformative moral clarity, arrives only when danger touches family. The story jumps to flashbacks. Gloria and Debbie recall being teenagers preparing for dates, giggling anxious. Their parents visit a dying aunt, leaving the girls at home. Debbie suggests calling college boys university men. Gloria fears her father's beliefs about purity, but teenage curiosity wins. The boys arrive. Gloria finds one boy's beard strange. The awkwardness is comedic knock-knock jokes, hair studies, nervous pacing. Mike reveals vulnerability. Gloria teases him. They dance improvise Ginger Rogers' fantasies and share shy tension. The scene reveals innocence before responsibilities harden them. Later, hunger forces them into the kitchen. Gloria debates her desire torn between body and conscience. The boy promises gentleness, but they freeze at misunderstanding. The comedy of leg cramps and awkward closeness highlights emotional confusion. They part politely, doors closing softly on hormones and fear. The next day, Debbie jokes about learning nothing intimate, just eating expensive ice cream at a pier. Gloria blushes, adding humor about hair and parents. Throughout, Edith anchors the emotional tone, gentle, forgiving, singing softly. She comforts Archie when he collapses emotionally after the clan revelation. Archie briefly holds his grandchild, who becomes symbolic renewal. He quietly says goodbye before stepping into silence, deciding to face his thoughts alone. That walk into uncertainty feels larger than his usual stomping rage. The narrative contrasts pride and vulnerability. Archie's stubbornness often masks fear of failure, insignificance, and social displacement. Business trouble, declining strength, and generational change weigh heavily. His relationship with Edith is the emotional backbone. Her voice is safe harbor. Mike and Gloria represent ideological friction America, shifting under Archie's feet. Humor masks trauma. Punchlines soften edges of hate, race, and masculinity. Underneath, jokes are pressing political themes, cross-burning as terrorism, economic desperation, breeding resentment media, pressure-shaping desire, consumer culture, broken safety nets. When darkness literally falls, characters confront symbolic void. As the blackout ends, Mike comments that people born after the last blackout increased, 9 months later subtly linking crisis to intimacy. Archie retorts sarcastically about babies and cheesecake. Edith hands warm cocoa. Domestic chaos resets, but the wound remains. Archie's monologue about being born, nothing exposes tragedy. Socioeconomic systems crush small business owners. Pride becomes survival armor. Harry's partnership offers salvation, yet Archie nearly ruins it by refusing vulnerability. Male ego prevents apology until disaster looms. Their reconcilement becomes a comedy of numbers. 60 to 30 jokes reveal both men can compromise when forced. Meanwhile, cross-burning becomes Archie's moral test. Threats escalate toward violence. Archie's family sobs at the idea that he joined such an organization. Mike angrily lists systemic racism, pointing to interracial blood keeping Archie alive. The irony is biting the man who resents outsiders literally survives because of them. Shame wraps around him, suffocating. The scene where Crusaders cancel the burn because of his bluff stands as his redemption. He proves that even deeply flawed men can defy hate. At the end, we see Edith making marmalade, reminiscing about old neighborhood girls and dying relatives. Death and sweetness braid together, metaphorically reminding us that time takes everything. Archie's stubborn refusal to return to New York, if marmalade spoils, adds comedic, tender absurdity. Gloria and Debbie's flashback reappears in greater detail, teen desire struggling between religion, parental fear, and girls discovering autonomy. Boys try awkward seduction. Girls negotiate boundaries. These adolescent scenes contrast adult extremism. The innocence of first crushes mirrors ideological purity, corrupted by fear later. Through gossip, family ritual, cheesecake, looted furniture, and candlelit refrigerators, the story illustrates America's cultural contradictions: hospitality versus hatred, family loyalty versus prejudice, law versus vigilantism. The comedic pacing enhances darkness. Every argument about looting race or morality ends with slapstick distractions, putting cans in bathtubs, radio arguments, or mismatched hair jokes. Comedy becomes coping mechanism. And yet the most impactful moment is Archie's silent walk out the door to think. He is a man trapped between eras. The old world he romanticizes has vanished. The new world terrifies him. Pride kept him from listening. Fear kept him from apologizing. Only when threatened with losing family entirely does his armor crack. As memory loops between hospital beds, blackout kitchens, and teenage parties, we witness generational cycles. Stubborn fathers, gentle wives, anxious children. Archie's transformation is incremental, reluctant, messy. The story shows that bigotry can be undone not by lectures, but by empathy, fear of losing loved ones, and unexpected blood transfusions. As Archie's inner turmoil swells, the household becomes a theater of subtle emotional fractures. Days blur together as he wrestles with the humiliation of needing help. Harry's willingness to partner again should have been victory, yet pride poisons his gratitude. Even after agreeing to open the bar together, Archie lies awake, staring at the ceiling, convinced that fate marks him for failure. Edith, hearing him sigh in the dark, gently asks what's wrong, but he claims sleep, clinging to the illusion of control. The kitchen's dim light reflects on cooling pots of Hungarian stew leftovers from earlier attempts to cheer him, now symbolic of comfort he refuses to taste. Meanwhile, Gloria and Mike sit at the living room table, whispering anxiously about the cross-burning threat. Gloria clutches her child's blanket, in fear, imagining flames rising outside the window, neighbors watching silently. Mike tries to reassure her, but dread grows every time the phone rings or footsteps echo in the hallway. Their ideological debates now have physical stakes. Racism is no longer an abstract evil. It's a wooden cross waiting to ignite outside their home. Gloria wonders aloud how a grandfather could align even temporarily with men who seek to terrify his grandson. Mike argues that Archie's mistakes are born more from ignorance than malice, though his conviction wavers as memories of Archie's careless remarks flash back. Edith holds the baby in her arms, humming softly, rocking him towards sleep, while her thoughts fight panic. She recalls a time when Archie's temper was less sharp, when laughter filled the house without fear of neighbors or politics. She remembers their courtship's simpler days under streetlights, dancing to jukeboxes. That nostalgia fuels her refusal to abandon him now. She wipes her cheek discreetly, not wanting the child to see tears. Her lullaby drifts through the quiet night like a fragile shield. In the bathroom, Archie splashes cold water on his face, staring at his reflection until his eyes burn. The mirror shows an aging man caught between eras, neither young enough to adapt nor old enough to escape responsibility. His father's voice echoes faintly in his memory, muttering phrases about toughness, never asking for help. Archie wonders if those teachings were poison disguised as wisdom. Pride got him here. Pride could destroy everything he loves. But he cannot confess that aloud. Buttons rattle softly as he wipes his hands and exits, shoulders heavy. The next morning, coffee brews weakly. The whole home seems weary. Harry arrives to collect Archie for the grand reopening of the bar, his suitcase filled with ledgers and optimism. Archie hesitates. What if no customers return? What if the humiliation continues? But Edith's hopeful smile pushes him forward. She fastens the button on his shirt collar like a mother sending a child to school. He mumbles an annoyed thanks, masking gratitude. The bar's front door creaks open. Dust floats in sunbeams like tiny ghosts of former patrons. Tables are missing, chairs are mismatched. A faint outline remains where the piano once Saturday Archie's chest tightens. Harry claps him on the back, promising they'll rebuild, but Archie imagines neighbors whispering, calling him foolish. Still, as they sweep the floors and stack beer crates, each motion rebuilds confidence molecule by molecule. By afternoon, the first customer enters, then another, then a pair of loud, boisterous regulars. Soon the bar hums again. Laughter bounces off walls. Money clinks into the cash drawer. Archie's posture rises inch by inch. He pours drinks with pride, tosses jokes, calls out orders. Harry nods approvingly. The day ends with modest profit. Archie pretends to be unimpressed, but his eyes sparkle quietly as he turns keys in the lock. At home, Mike shows Gloria a letter from the newspaper, acknowledging his editorial's impact. Gloria beams with pride, joking that maybe one day he'll be a famous columnist. Mike laughs, though part of him secretly considers it. Archie overhears scoffing about newspapers teaching foolishness. But there's no venom this time, just habitual reflex. Edith nudges him gently, whispering that someday he might even brag about his son-in-law's writing. Later, the couple reminisces about their early courtship. Edith remembers Archie dancing clumsily in small taverns, stepping on her toes, but smiling so wide she forgave him instantly. Archie remembers her laughter more than the music. He touches her hand, rarely tender, but sincere. For a moment, prejudice and fear dissolve in shared memory. A few days afterward, gossip spreads through the neighborhood. Some claim they saw unknown vans circling streets at night. Others whisper about a secret meeting where men in hoods argued fiercely. Paranoia grows in suburbs like weeds after rain. Archie stays late at the bar, uneasy cleaning glasses repeatedly. He fears the Crusaders may return angry he defied them or humiliated one of their leaders. Shadows cast by passing headlights stretch across the bar floor like prowling animals. At home, Gloria wakes from a nightmare, shaking. She dreamed of fire climbing their porch, railing her baby trapped behind smoke. Mike comforts her, promising they'll leave town if danger becomes real. She nods, though her heart aches at abandoning childhood streets. They consider motels new houses, fresh starts. For now, they wait. Days later, a stranger approaches Archie outside the bar, offering a handshake and cryptic praise about protecting tradition. Archie recoils, recognizing the tone. He pretends not to understand, refusing quietly. The man leaves with a grin, both friendly and threatening. Archie's stomach knots. He realizes neutrality is impossible. Silence only invites further expectation. That evening, Edith reads a letter from her cousin, describing the slow decline of Aunt Alicia, bedridden and drifting in and out of coherence. Memories flood. Edith's childhood visits, shared recipes, whispered stories. She announces she will visit the dying aunt, bringing marmalade as comfort. Archie objects, loudly, afraid she'll catch illness or witness suffering. Yet she insists, gentle but determined. Even death will not frighten her from compassion. While Edith travels, Gloria and Mike babysit. In the quiet house, Mike studies and Gloria minds the baby. Silence is surprisingly peaceful. Then the phone rings. An anonymous voice warns them not to publish more letters. Gloria slams the phone down, trembling. Mike bites his lip but refuses to show fear. Instead, he drafts another editorial stronger than the last, fueled by righteous anger. When Edith returns days later, her eyes shimmer with exhaustion and acceptance. Her aunt passed peacefully, marmalade still in jars beside the bed. She describes the funeral softly, as though afraid to disturb memories. Archie listens quietly, a rare moment of respectful silence. When she finishes, he mumbles that maybe he should have gone. Edith squeezes his hand gently. The bar continues to thrive. Harry organizes special deals. Archie develops small rituals like wiping the same corner of the counter each morning, which restore routine. One night, a local musician offers to perform weekly. Customers' cheer tips increase. Archie allows himself to smile broadly. Success tastes foreign, almost suspicious, but delicious. Yet tension beneath the surface remains. Rumors of cross burnings in other neighborhoods circulate. One night, as the family sleeps, distant sirens echo. Red lights reflect against windows like flickering flames. Gloria runs to the crib instinctively. Mike peers through blinds cautiously. Nothing approaches, but pulse rates spike. Sleep does not return. The next morning, Archie reads the newspaper. An article details an explosion of hate crimes, burned lawns, broken windows, slogans spray painted. He reads silently, jaw tightening. Edith watches him carefully. Finally, he folds the newspaper and whispers that maybe it's time to speak publicly. Edith beams proudly, telling him she always believed he had good inside. Archie grumbles at the sentiment, but secretly feels lighter. He drafts a speech, though writing pains him. He crosses out sentences, angrily rewrites phrases about unity, community, and courage. Mike offers to help. Archie refuses at first, then reluctantly allows suggestions. They argue occasionally, but the argument contains less hate and more friction of growth. At the community gathering, Archie stands behind a microphone awkwardly. People whisper they know his past associations. He clears his throat nervously. Edith squeezes his shoulder. He speaks condemning intimidation, denouncing burning crosses, urging neighbors not to let fear define them. Slowly, applause spreads. Even skeptics nod. Archie breathes deeply as though exhaling years of toxic air. Later at home, Archie sits in his recliner quietly. Mike approaches gently and thanks him. Archie shrugs, pretending indifference. They share a beer without tension, awkward but peaceful. Gloria joins them, baby in arms, smiling softly. Edith hums her favorite tune in the kitchen. Time passes, the neighborhood calms. The Crusaders fade, their influence weakened. The bar prospers steadily. Archie grows comfortable with Harry, no longer viewing partnership as defeat. Mike publishes more letters, now praised instead of threatened. Gloria focuses on motherhood tension easing from her shoulders. Edith continues her marmalade gifting jars to neighbors as olive branches. But lessons linger. Archie's scars remain shaping rather than crippling him. He understands now that words can ignite fires just as surely as wooden crosses. He knows silence feeds hatred. He learns that sometimes the bravest thing a man can do is sit down with someone different and listen. His legacy shifts slowly from stubborn bigot to flawed man trying to be better for those he loves. It's not a perfect transformation, but real change rarely is.